Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This episode I'm going to show you how I apply my carbon fiber decals. First off, I'm going to use some Zero Paint Spray primer to prime the surface of the hood I'm going to apply the carbon fiber decals to. I always do the edges first and then move on to the rest of the part. This first coat will be very light, I think about 50% coverage. After applying the first light coat, I let the part dry for a minute and started on the second coat. The second coat is probably 60% coverage. Now that the first coats have been applied, I'm going to do the third and final primer coat. I'm going to do this one a bit heavier because I'm going to sand it down later on. I let the third coat dry for 10 minutes, then I started sanding it down with 1000 grit wet sandpaper. Now that the primer is sanded smooth, I wiped it off and I could continue on with the painting. As a base color under the carbon fiber decals, I use a gunmetal gray by Ferrari. It's called Rio Silverstone, and it looks pretty good underneath the decals. Just like the first coat of primer, the first color or base coat is the lightest coat, and from there you build it up. The first coat of color is now applied. Let it dry for a minute and continue on with the second coat. The second coat is also pretty light, pretty much the same as the first coat. First two coats have been applied pretty successfully. I'm happy with the result. And now the third coat is going to be the heaviest coat. This is to make sure I didn't miss anything and to make the coverage even. The third and final coat is applied. I'm going to let it dry for 20 minutes and then I can start on making the template for the decals. As always, I use Skill Motorsports carbon fiber decals. You can see the details in the pictures of which ones I used. For this template, I just used some painter's masking paper, put the piece on there and traced it around. After that, I cut it out and used that as the template for the decals. For this hood, I wanted the carbon fiber decals to meet in the middle, coming from different directions. So I cut the template in two and matched the decals to the direction I wanted it to have. Now that decals are cut to the desired shape, I can start with prepping the part. I start with laying down a layer of micro set. This helps put the decal down and makes the part accept the decal more, so it sticks better to the surface. Also, it softens the decal so it can form to the surface better. When the decal is in the desired place, just leave it there, get a Q-tip and start pressing it down. Don't press too hard, or actually don't press at all. Just let the Q-tip do the work and it'll get there itself. As you can see, the decal is already forming to the surface pretty well without even doing that much. Make sure it's there about 80% before you start using heat or microsol. Now that you're happy with the decal placement and basic fit, you can start using some heat. I use a hairdryer on its lowest setting, so it's not that hot, but still pretty hot. You can see when you're done with using heat, the decal will form to the part better and start to tighten. Heating up the decal also makes it flexible, sort of like heating up vinyl, but then just with a decal. So after you've heated it up, press it down again with a Q-tip, and after that you can start using some sol. So now we can finally pull out the sol. Sol is mostly used to get out the final wrinkles of the decals and to get the full adhesion to the surface. After applying the sol, get out your hairdryer again and heat it up. Make sure the surface is completely dry, because getting some sol on your Q-tip can ruin the decals. It softens the decals and can stick to the Q-tip, so that's why I dip my Q-tip in some water so it slides over the decals easily and doesn't get stuck on any of those salt puddles. So now the decal is where you want to have it. It's smooth, no more wrinkles. Don't touch that anymore, just put down the edges, press a little harder, make sure they're all the way down, because if they're not and you've clear coated the piece and maybe you want to mask it again or something, you run the risk of pulling up the complete decal just by one little gap. The first side is finished, second side is the same job, so I'm not going to bore you with the same explanation, just going to show it in fast forward. Now that the hood is all wrapped up in carbon, I just wanted to add one more decal. It's a raised decal. It's the same brand as the wheels that are going to come under the car, so I figured that would look cool. Check out my Facebook for status updates, question suggestions, shoot me an email, and as always, thanks for watching.